Yes, we are live.
Shall I start?
Yes, please.
So, very good evening to all the attendees in this webinar. I am Janish Barbaya, Secretary of Rajkot Branch of WICASA. Welcomes you all in this second day of 5 days GST knowledge series on practical approach on e-way bill. I would request all to join for the motto song of ICI.
य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 पुरुषो निर्मिमाणः निर्मिमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनाद्यपि कश्चन एतद्द्वैता 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 एतद्द्वैता.
So now, allow me to give a brief introduction of our today's speaker, CA Darshan Mankad sir. So, sir is a qualified BCom, LLB, Chartered Accountant, and Company Secretary, DISA by ICAI. Sir has also completed certified course in indirect taxation, bank concurrent audit, forensic accounting, and fraud prevention. Further, Sir is also founder partner of DVM and Associates, Chartered Accountants in Rajkot, practicing in the area of GST, internal audits, bank audits, system audits since 2011. He is regularly appearing before the adjudication authorities for tax matters. He has delivered lectures on GST and service taxes at seminars organized by various branches of ICI and other trades and professional bodies. So let us move forward for other qualifications of Sir. Sir has achieved BPA and MPA degree in music, Sangeet Alankar in tabla, Sangeet Vishrad in vocal. Further, Sir has achieved highest position in many competitions like state as well as national level classical music competition. Sir has also performed solo in tabla and also accompanied with various artists in classical music concerts. So now, before we move on, I will inform you to kindly keep your video and microphone off to avoid any kind of disturbances during the session. You all are requested to note down your doubts and queries in chats or comment section, if any, and you will be answered at the end of the session. So I request to see Darshan Mankad sir to take the charge of the session.
Namaskar. Good evening. First of all, looking into the outside environment and things happening around us, I would like to offer a little prayer to the God Almighty. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantuma, kaschit dukha bhavet. May all be happy, may all be free from infirmities. May all see good. May all none partake suffer. So, First of all, I'm very much thankful to Rajkot Branch of WICASA for giving me an opportunity to share my little bit experience, little bit knowledge about this topic to my lovely students. Some of them are waiting for the exams, and some of them are preparing for the exams. My topic assigned today, when I was discussing with chairman, he was telling we want to discuss the topics which are very practical and useful in, day out practices to the students. So e-way bill is definitely a very practical topic. Each and every transaction movements have to be covered with e-way bill. So in my whole presentation of coming 2 hours, I'm going to cover legal provisions first for e-way bill, then functionality of e-way bill, where how the portal is working, penal provisions, if not generated, not found during movement of goods, etc., etc., etc. Then what are the penalties to be charged, and the practical issues, day in day out issues which we are facing as a consultant, or you will be facing as your practical life, in your practical life, particularly handling some clients. So let us begin first with the basic provisions of the law, how e-way bill is defined, how e-way bill is mechanized in the law. Central Goods and Services Tax Act 2017 has notified certain rules. And those rules, Rule 138, Sub-Rule 1, provides for this provision. For the legal provisions, I'm going a little bit slow, because from the legal provisions, we can better understand the practical provisions of the e-way bill provision. So let us start. Every registered person who causes movement of goods, mind well, my friends, here the word is movement of goods. There is no sale, no transfer, no barter, no exchange, nothing. Supply, the main definition, section 7, which you have already studied. Movement of goods. Movement means goods which are moved from one place to another place, is just a movement. Whether the ownership is transferred or not, sale is happened or not, whether there is exchange, is a consideration is there or not, whether provision of service is there or goods supplied, nothing to be worried. First, movement is must. So every registered person who causes movement of goods of consignment, value exceeding, consignment value means value of goods exceeding 50,000 rupees. You have to keep in mind 50,000 rupees. 50,000 rupees or more. Then when to generate this e-way bill in relation to a supply. If you are making a supply, any supply, you have to generate e-way bill. Second, for reasons other than supply, I've already told, if there is a supply, you have to generate e-way bill. Yes, good. If there is no supply, reasons other than supply, even if you have to generate e-way bill. Later on, we are going to discuss these kind of transactions also. And there are many non-compliances happening day in, day out by the suppliers, by the transporters, or people who are making movement of goods. And third, due to inward supply from an unregistered person. See, if you are purchasing from an unregistered person, you as a registered person, you are liable to generate e-way bill. So let us sum up. Movement, if there is a movement of goods exceeding 50,000 rupees and in relation to a supply or other than supply or due to inward supply from an unregistered person. Basic three conditions. अब क्या करना है? Shall is you have to do compulsory. Shall before commencement of such movement, furnish information relating to the said goods as specified in part A. E-way bill form has two parts. One is part A, one is part B. Right now, this sub-rule describes part A of the form GST EWB 01. The form which we are regularly getting is EWB 01. Electronically on a common portal, along with such other informations as may be required on the common portal, and a unique number will be generated. E-way bill number, a unique number will be generated on the said portal. So furnish the information regarding such movement and the goods and other related informations which are prescribed under this form are to be filled by the person who is making the movement. Provided. Now, if there is a law, there is a proviso. So this proviso says transporter, e-commerce operator, courier agency may fill part A if the supplier is a registered person and if he authorizes transporter, e-com operator, courier agency, they may fill part A definitely with the authority of the supplier. Second, goods sent by principal to job worker in other state means interstate supply for the reason for the reason of job work. Then irrespective of value, we have already seen 50,000 rupees. Now in this case, if goods are moved by a principal to a job worker in other state, if it is within the state, no e-way bill is required if value is less than 50,000. But for the job, for the purpose of job work, if a principal is sending goods to a job worker in different state, in other state, then irrespective of value, you have to generate e-way bill. Handicraft goods to other state. Again, if you are making supply of handicraft goods, they have specifically explained what is handicraft goods. You can refer to the law. Next, value as per section 15 and includes, now you have to calculate the value of 50,000. Now, what will be 50,000? Taxable amount, including tax, including other charges, what? So here they have clarifically provided value as per section 15 and includes, mind well, when I was seeing the law for the first time, I was also an impression that taxable value is as per section 15, there is taxes are excluded. So value as per section 15 excludes tax, no. For e-way bill purpose, rule 138 sub rule 1 proviso, value as per section 15 and includes central tax, state tax and union territory tax, whatever is applicable, and excludes exempted supply. Yes, if there is exempted supply, then it is excluded. So we have seen these four things. Transporter can generate e-way bill on the behalf of the supplier. Principal to job worker, if job work is to be done in other state, goods are moving to the other state, then irrespective of value, you have to generate e-way bill. If handicraft goods to the other state, irrespective of value, you have to generate e-way bill. Value, what value is to be taken for calculating 50,000? Value as per section 15, regular valuation in GST law, and includes central tax, state tax, and utility tax. So 49,000 taxable value plus tax, you have to create or generate e-way bill. Next, so we have discussed part A. Part A will be filled by supplier or the person who is making movement of goods. Part B, by registered person in case of transport by road, rail, vessel. अब बारी आती है जो ले जाता है, गुड्स को उठा के ले जाता है. So person who is actually making the movement. So part B will be filled by if registered person अपना खुद का ट्रक है, making movement on his own vehicle by road, by rail, by vessel, then he have to particular person has to fill part B. By transporter in case of goods handed over to him for movement. If transporter, we have made a transport arrangement and goods handed over to transporter, then transporter has to fill part B. If unregistered person, if movement is caused by unregistered person, then transporter or unregistered person have to fill particularly part B. And this part B is nothing, just details of the conveyance, the details of the vehicle, which is to be provided. Now, one other thing. Part B is not required up to 50 kilometers to the place of transporter for further transportation. From your premises to the premises of transporter, where you, while generating e-way bill, you are not knowing the conveyance number, the conveyance details. Transporter is going to arrange those detail, those conveyances, and then only transporter has this detail. Then up to 50 kilometers to the place of transporter. No, mind well, part B is not required. E-way bill is required. Part B is not required. Transporter himself will fill the part B. If part B is not furnished, there shall not be a valid movement of goods. There was a huge discussion, huge litigation in past. If part B furnished, then it is valid. If part B is not furnished, then there is there shall not be any valid movement of goods. In other words, e-way bill is not valid. Part B can be updated time to time if required. See, if you want to update part bill, some breakdown happened, some conveyances are restricted to certain areas, you have to change the conveyances. Then you can update part B time to time. E-way bill portal has facility to update those details, but you have to the movement and the conveyance both are in nexus. The movement of goods which is filled in part A and the conveyance which is carrying the goods, both are to be in same line. Then and then e-way bill is valid. Now, cancellation of e-way bill. If goods are not transported, obviously, transport doesn't happen. E-way bill can be cancelled within 24 hours of generation of e-way bill. If you generate e-way bill, it can be cancelled within 24 hours. Simple rule. Now, most important aspect, validity period of e-way bill. कितने समय तक ये वैलिड रहेगा? If your distance is 200 kilometers, let me clarify before going to this provision. You have to fill in e-way bill in details the kilometers. Say for example, Rajkot to Ahmedabad. So the kilometer is 220 kilometers. So you have to cover 200 kilometers in a day. Now coming back to this distance thing, you have to cover 200 kilometers in one day. So validity, e-way bill validity will be one day up to 200 kilometers. And then after every 200 kilometers, additional one day. So if you are going to transport for 400 kilometers, you will be getting 2 days. If you are going to move your goods for 200 kilometers, you will get 1 day. Previously, it was 100 kilometers, but from 1st of January 2021, the amendment came and it is prescribed that one conveyance can travel 200 kilometers in a day. 1 day means 24 hours. So the validity of e-way bill will be 24 hours. But if you have over-dimensional cargo, multi-dimensional cargo, which we are seeing for some huge machineries, some windmills on the road, then those conveyances, they got up to 20 kilometers in a single day, and additional 1 day for every 20 kilometers. So validity period of e-way bill is simple: 200 kilometers 1 day, another 200 you will get additional 1 day. Now, if you
Sorry
couldn't
to
reach,
interrupt, sir. Sir, you have to share your screen. It is not visible to the participants.
I have already shared, I think.
No, sir, it is not.
So it
Yes,
remain like
it is
that.
now visible. Yes.
Okay, I think some. We have started from here. Let me repeat. The parade first, then we have discussed this legal provisions. I'm quickly going through this. 50,000 rupees movement in relation to a supply, other than supply. Part A, we have discussed part B. I request WICASA to share this presentation with the students so that they can have a proper idea, because some technical glitch is there.
Sure, sir.
Part B, already we have discussed, to be filled by the transporter or person who is making the movement of goods. Cancellation of e-way bill. If goods are not transported, e-way bill cancelled within 24 hours. We have just reached the provisions of 200 kilometers, up to 200 kilometer 1 day. For every another 200 kilometers, you will be getting 1 additional day. For over dimensional cargo, there will be 20 kilometers per day, and for another 20 kilometers, 1 additional day will be provided. Now, extension of time limit. Where under circumstances of an exceptional nature, including transshipment, conveyance ko badalna pada, the goods cannot be transported within the validity period of the e-way bill. The transporter who filled the part B may extend the validity period after obtaining the details in part B. जो validity है वो extend करनी है, they have to extend the validity if required. Next, validity of e-way bill may be extended within 8 hours. You can't extend the validity after 2 days. चलो अभी वो ई वे बिल लेते हैं, उसको ट्रांसशिपमेंट करना है, तो we have to. No, you can't extend the time limit. Validity of a bill may be extended within 8 hours from the time frame which is given, which is 24 hours of time. Now, e-way bill is generated part A, part B. So, acceptance of e-way bill. Who will accept the e-way bill? Supplier, recipient, as the case may be. Who is making the movement, who is initiating the movement, the other party will accept or reject. Why to reject? Acceptance is understandable, but why to reject? If the goods which are shown in my portal is not pertaining to me, or which I haven't ordered, so I can reject those consignment thoroughly. So I have to reject that e-way bill. But if I don't reject, if I don't take any action, then there is dimmed acceptance. If not accepted within 72 hours, there will be dimmed acceptance or time of delivery. If you have taken the delivery, then also it is dimmed acceptance. Now, when to generate e-way bill, time limit of e-way bill, extension of time limit of e-way bill. Now we are going towards e-way bill not applicable. In these cases, e-way bill is not required to be generated. Rule 138, sub rule 14, very important. And in examination also, these things are to be, I think you have some multiple choice questions. So hot favorite area for MCQs. Number 1, goods as per annexure. We are discussing this later on. Second thing, goods are being transported by a non-motorized conveyance. The goods which are transported by non-motorized. The vehicle with no motorization means the lorry, the hand lorry, cycle, rickshaw, any other conveyances which traditionally used, we can say the cart or ghoda gadi. So in those cases, no e-way bill is required. Next, custom port to inland container depot for customs clearance. If you are making movement from a custom port to inland container depot for custom clearance, specifically for the custom clearance, then no e-way bill is required. Area notified by state or union territory. In Gujarat government has notified e-way bill is not required within the city. Intra-city e-way bill is not required. Within the city limits, say for example, we are sitting in Rajkot. So Rajkot Municipal Corporation city limit, no e-way bill is required if the movement is within the city. But if you send goods to nearby place, which is Metoda or Shapar, Metoda or Shapar is not within the city area or city limit of the Rajkot, so e-way bill is required. So where specific exemption is notified by state or union territory, e-way bill is not required. Another important thing, all exempted goods, the goods which have nil rate of duty, all exempted goods other than de-oiled cakes, Gujarati mein khol kehvaay, de-oiled cakes as per notification 2/2017 central tax rate. The rate which has 0% or nil rate, no e-way bill is required. Say for example, if you are making movement of wheat, then you have not required to generate, you are not required to generate e-way bill. So most important thing, exempted goods, nil rated goods, e-way bill not required. Another thing, alcoholic liquor for human consumption, petroleum crude, high speed diesel oil, motor spirit, commonly known as petrol, natural gas, or aviation turbine fuel. All those items are not right now in the purview of GST. So no e-way bill required. No supply under Schedule 3 of the Act. Schedule 3 particularly prescribes the transactions which are no supply. Supply is nothing. If there is no supply, then e-way bill is also not required to be generated. Another thing where e-way bill is not required is goods under bond, one consumption station or depot to another, or under customs supervision. Where goods under bond, a custom station to another custom station, if goods are moving from one custom station to another custom station, and with the supervision of the customs department. अभी उसमें e-way bill की जरूरत ही नहीं है. Department itself is taking care of this thing, so no e-way bill. Transit cargo from or to Nepal or Bhutan. In both the cases, Nepal or Bhutan, the cargo has to touch the Indian territory, pass by through Indian territory. So in those cases, goods are the transit cargo, they are not intended to enter into Indian territory. So e-way bill is not required. Goods exempted under 7/2017. These goods are not required while e-way bill is not required while movement of these goods. Movement of defense goods by defense formations. If defense formations are moving some goods from one place to another place, no value, nothing is to be seen. You have to you don't have to generate e-way bill. Empty cargo or containers. Empty cargo, empty containers. Obviously, nothing is carried, so not required. Up to 20 kilometers. Now, important thing, up to 20 kilometers for weighbridge under delivery challan. You have to generate a delivery challan, and you are, because you have to value the goods. For valuation, you will have to have weight. So for getting the weight, you have to send particular consignment to the weighbridge. So up to 20 kilometers to the weighbridge, we are not required to generate e-way bill. Manual, we have seen some provision of 50 kilometers earlier where part B was not required. This another provision came up to 20 kilometers for weighbridge. Only delivery challan, you need not to generate e-way bill. LPG empty cylinders, like containers, LPG empty cylinders, movement of those cylinders, e-way bill is not required to be generated. Annexure, I have already mentioned earlier. This annexure where e-way bill is not required. Number one, LPG supply to household and non-domestic exempted category. Non-domestic LPG, no e-way bill required. If there is another gas, then e-way bill is required. But for LPG, no. Kerosene, oil sold under PDS, public distribution system. So kerosene is also one of the fuel for common public, so not required. Postal baggage transported by Department of Post, e-way bill is not required. Natural or cultural pearls and precious or semi-precious stone, diamonds, platinums, precious metal and metal clad with precious metal, gold, silver, etc. Another thing, most important, jewelry, goldsmiths and silversmiths, wares, and other articles. The precious jewelries. If goldsmith is carrying with him or carrying in some conveyance, then e-way bill is not required. Currency. Currency distribution, currency, this ATM service providers are carrying the currency. No e-way bill is required. Though currency has value, but no e-way bill is required. Use personal household effects. If you are taking goods valuing more than 50,000 rupees, but it is used personal effects or household effects. If you are moving from one place to another place, say for example Rajkot to Ahmedabad, your whole household effects are there, which is amounting more than 50,000 rupees. Then also e-way bill is not required. Coral, unworked and work coral. In those cases also e-way bill is not required. So I'm going back to this. As per annexure, not required. Non-motorized vehicle, not required. Custom port, exempted goods, area which is notified by the state in which e-way bill is not required. Alcoholic liquor, no supply cases, goods under bond, one custom station to another custom station, transit cargo to or from Nepal or Bhutan, goods exempted under 2017 notification, movement of defense goods by defense formations, empty cargo containers, goods movement up to 20 kilometers for weighbridge, under delivery challenge not required. LPG empty cylinders not required. Even LPG itself, e-way bill is not required. Kerosene oil for public distribution, postal baggages, natural and cultured pearls and precious metals, jewelry, whether goldsmiths or silversmiths, wares and articles, currency, used personal effects, household effects, coral, unworked and work coral, etc. No e-way bill is required. Now, documents to be carried by person in charge of conveyance. क्या होना था ये साथ में? The invoice or bill of supply definitely required, because section 31 also provides for the same. Invoice and bill of supply, challan, bill of entry in case of imported goods, as the case may be. Number one thing. Second, a copy of e-way bill in physical form or e-way bill number in electronic form, which is your SMS or your PDF format, or make to a radio frequency identification devices embedded on the conveyance in such manner as may be notified by the commissioner. Right now, commissioner is notified, but full-fledged implication or implementation of this FID is radio frequency identification devices are right now not in place 100%. Next, now procedural aspect I'm going to cover in later part of my presentation, but the particular rule provides verification of documents and conveyances. Department अभी इतनी सारी processes करवाता है, आटली मोटी मजूरी करी. Now department will come, department will intercept the conveyance, department will inspect, department will verify. So for verification, commissioner may authorize officers to intercept any conveyances, but authority of commissioner is required. Particular of category of officers are also defined in the law, but we
Dear attendees, there is some technical issue. We'll be right back within few seconds.
I think some connection is lost.
Yes, sir. Now,
Am I audible now?
yes, yes, sir. You're audible.
I think some internet connection is lost. So what happened? So facility of uploading details of detention. Whether screen is visible?
No, it is not yet visible, sir.
Is it good now?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
So facility of uploading details of detention. Rule 138D. So departmental officer, if he is detaining some conveyances for more than 30 minutes, they have to also report to the portal that particular e-way bill number and the conveyance is intercepted and detained for more than 30 minutes. Now let us quickly discuss about e-way bill portal. So my dear friends, I think you all are techno savvy, and this e-way bill portal is very easy if it is running with a good presence. So I'm going to discuss some broader view of e-way bill portal with you all. E-way bill, this URL, e-way bill URL, single e-way bill for movement of goods throughout the country. No state-wise e-way bill is required now to prevent evasion of tax. Why e-way bill? Evasion of tax is prevented. Hassle-free movement of goods across India. Tracking the movement, department वाला भी track कर सकता है while e-way bill number. Easier verification by the officers. Now features of e-way bill portal. Easy and quick generation methods are there. Checks and balances. There are certain validations are there where you can generate e-way bill if there is some mistake, like some text mistakes, the address mistakes, GST mistakes. Checks and balances are there. Multiple modes of e-way bill generation. You can have regular web-based e-way bill generation, mobile-based e-way bill generation. So multiple modes are also available. Monitoring the e-way bills generation against users. You can also monitor user-wise e-way bill generation, enabling unregistered transporters to use e-way bill. Transporters are unregistered, but they can also use e-way bill portal, notifying the taxpayers, generation of e-way bill, time limit of e-way bill, expiration of e-way bill, all those things are notified to the registered mobile number. QR code on the e-way bill. So from QR code, you can also track the e-way bill. Integrating with RFID, when 100% integration will be there, radio frequency devices are more useful for the officers. Now, while generating e-way bill, these options are available. You can go through these options. One is generate e-way bill, then generate bulk e-way bill. If you want to generate more than one e-way bill in a single time, then one Excel utility is there. You can put your details in Excel utility and upload particular JSON file. You will get the bulk e-way bills generated. Update part B if you want to update part B afterwards. We have already discussed while in any breakdown condition or transit condition, you can update the part B. You can update vehicle details also. You can change your e-way bill to multi-vehicle. Now, what is multi-vehicle? Say, for example, if you are having a consignment, which is transported in more than one vehicle. I have a consignment, it is transported in 4 different containers and 4 different vehicles. Then I have to generate one e-way bill, and then I have to convert that e-way bill, change that e-way bill to the multi-vehicle. And then I can proceed for further, like I have to put 4 different vehicles in this multi-vehicle e-way bill. If you want to extend e-way bill, update e-way bill transporter, update e-way bill transporter. If you want to bulk update, then you can also do. If you want to cancel the e-way bill, then also facility is available. And if you want to print historical e-bills, then facility is also available. Now, as you can see, it is just I was just shared a sample e-bill where you have to put fill the details. Some of the details are auto filled. If you put GST in, the supplier name will come, for the registered address also will come. You can also have some masters before making this e-bill, masters of the clients, master for the products, and then you can generate the e-bill easily, while you have to generate more than one e-bills or bulk e-bills every time. So part A, part B, both will create EWB1, e-bill 1. Now, some important aspects while selecting the movement. Movement is outward from my premises. One movement is inward to my premises. So if I am making outward movement I am removing the goods. So for outward movement, if there is a supply, you will have tax invoice, you will have bill of supply if in case of exempted goods, and GSTN will be of the recipient. In case of export, most important, export mein kya karna hai? There is no recipient, and if there is a recipient, then the recipient is situated outside India. So in case of export, if it is tax invoice, you have to put URP in case of two. Matlab, the recipient will be URP, unregistered purchaser. Now, in case of job worker, for in case of transaction of job work, you have to generate delivery challan first, and from those delivery challans, you have to generate an e-bill. So delivery challan and to GSTN will be other GSTN to whom you are sending the goods. If the person is registered, then you have to put that job worker's GSTN, and if job worker is not registered, then URP. Both the cases will be there. If job worker is registered, then job worker's GSTN. If not registered, unregistered, URP. Next is SKD, CKD, semi knockdown or completely knockdown, or in lots, you are sending the goods. In those cases, tax invoice is there. Next thing is you have to generate delivery challan. First consignment should accompanied with the tax invoice, and other all consignments is to accompanied with delivery challans and certified copies of tax invoices. And the recipient, on the recipient side, the GSTN of recipient or unregistered person is to be provided. Now, recipient not known. Pata hi nahi hai. In case of sale on approval basis, we commonly say in Gujarati jangal mal vechiye chiye. Then recipient is not, if recipient is not known, then you have to generate the delivery challan, and the recipient or to GSTN will be self. You have to put your self GSTN in that particular column. Now, for own use, you are moving some goods from for your own use. Say, for example, one place of business to another place of business, one factory to another factory. Then you have to generate a delivery challan, and the recipient will be, bill to will be self. Exhibition or fair. If you are taking your goods, your machinery, your things to an exhibition or a fair, then again delivery challan, and bill to will be sales. Line sales. If I sell, you are selling to your agents, line sales is there. Then delivery challan and sales. In any other case, DC is must, delivery challan. Delivery challan is specifically prescribed in Rule 55 of CGST rules. You have to definitely go through this Rule 55, and you have to generate e-bill. Now the inward, agata, mal આવે છે આપણી. So in that case also you can generate e-bill. So if it is a supply, the transportation responsibility is taken by you, then tax invoice, bill of supply. If there is import, in case of import, document is bill of entry and bill from URP, bill to yourself. Again, SKD, CKD lots, bill of entry, tax invoice, bill of supply, DC, whatever is available. Job work returns, when the job work is completed and job worker returns the goods, then again delivery challan and your GST, and as a recipient you can put sales return. Again, sale, in many cases there is there might exist some disputes with the supplier. If you want to sell do sales return, then the recipient should generate a delivery challan and send the goods with the backing of delivery challan and e-way bill to the supplier. Next, exhibition of fair, again delivery challan. For own use, delivery challan. In any other case, you can issue delivery challan accompanied by e-way bill, and you have to put details of delivery challan in particular e-way bill. Understood? Next, now the format of e-way bill. I think all of us has gone through this. Modes or other functionalities at portal. You can generate bulk e-way bills, update part B of the vehicles. We have already discussed this thing. Extend validity. Now the validity is, as you all know, 1 day is for 200 kilometers. So if you want to extend validity, you have to go to the portal and extend validity. Update e-way bill for transporter. Transporter can also update the e-way bill. The part B, the vehicle area, which is prescribed to be filled by transporter. Now another thing, consolidated e-way bill. This e-way bill portal also provides for functionality of consolidated e-way bill, where if transporter is carrying the consignment of carrying more than one consignment, so he can generate a consolidated e-way bill. You have your particular consignment wise e-way bill, and he can convert that e-way bill into a consolidated e-way bill. Next is cancel e-way bill. If e-way bill is generated, you can cancel. Yes, cancellation facility is also available. Next is rejection of e-way bill. The recipient of goods may reject the e-way bill if the circumstances persist. Now, master creation. I've already discussed in some earlier part. Master creation. You can create client master and product master. It is most important for the persons who are day in day out generating e-way bills, that if client master is there, like an accounting software, you can generate the details with masters available in your at your e-way bill portal. Next is product master. You have multiple products. Each and every time entering the products is not feasible. So e-way bill portal also supports the product master. You can put product master also, and then you can use while generating e-way bill. User management. If you're having a big company, you have more than one dispatch locations, then in that cases you can assign users. You can give access to the users, and particular user wise e-way bill generation can be available. Even in those cases, you can restrict the users time to time. User management facilities are available. Another thing, e-way bill portal is very intelligent. If you are not filing your GST returns, the GST portal and e-way bill portal is integrated in this case, and particularly they will block the e-way bill. The particular time limit for non-filing is 2 months. If you are not filing your GST returns for 2 months, consecutive 2 months, the e-way bill portal will be blocked for generation of e-way bill. So you can't dispatch or move your goods with generation of e-way bill. Certain reports are also available at e-way bill portal. One is outward supply, inward supplies. Categorically, you can get your e-way bills. E-way bills generated by me, cancelled e-way bills, rejected e-way bills, assigned to the transporters, pending for part B. document number info, e-way bill about to expire, other e-way bill report, master reports, etc. reports are available at the portal. Now, I have discussed the provisions, the functionalities at e-way bill portal. If all those things are happened and we have not complied the provisions as prescribed earlier, then सभी को मिलता है ऐसी penalty. Let us see. Section 129 provides for the penalties. Detention, seizure, and release of goods and conveyance in transit. Now, the word states in transit. So, in transit means movement of goods is there. If goods are in movement, you must have your e-way bill, your tax invoice, earlier already discussed. Now, this section says, notwithstanding anything contained in this act, where any person transports any goods or stores any goods while they are in transit in contravention of provision of this act and rules made thereunder. Rules means 138, which we already discussed just now. All such goods and conveyances used as a means of transport for carrying said goods and documents relating to such goods and conveyances shall be liable to detention and seizure, and after detention or seizure shall be released. How it will be released, we are going to discuss in later part. But please keep in mind what will be detained. All such goods and also conveyances. Goods, conveyances which are carrying such goods. Next, used as means of transfer for the carrying such goods, and documents relating to such goods. Documents are also liable to be detained, and conveyance shall be liable to detention or seizure. If seizure is required, 129 section will be attracted. So if you are not having e-way bill, if you are having e-way bill but part B is not updated, if you are accompanied with if you are not accompanied with invoice, you should have invoiced, you should have e-way bill. Both the things is required. While in movement, some officer intercepts and asks for the documents, you have to provide invoice, you have to provide e-way bill. If not, then section 129 will attract. I'm going to discuss section 13 later part. I've just made a note here. Now, the person has intercepted, the proper officer has intercepted the goods, the conveyance. The particular person in charge of the conveyance is unable to produce invoice or unable to produce e-way bill or both. कुछ नहीं है मेरे पास, goods है. Then the penalty is attracted, section 129 penalty. And if you want to release such goods, detention done, if you want to release such goods, you have to pay this penalty and you can have your goods. As simple as that. But it is not simple as seen is this provision, because practically while detention is there, the departmental officer definitely have have their own informations, and then they will intercept the vehicle, the particular conveyance. And if you are contravening the provisions of particular law, or not having e-way bill, not having invoice, you are liable, your goods are liable to be detained. And if you want to release such goods, you have to pay this amount as penalty. So if you want to release such goods, where owner of goods comes forward, on the person in charge calls the owner, ભાઈ ટ્રક પકડાનો છે, then owner of goods comes forward, or owner of goods authorizes person in charge to deal with these officers. Then on payment of 100% of tax and penalty, tax and equal amount of penalty. Say for example, tax is 50,000, then equal amount of penalty 50,000 is to be paid. And in case of exempted good, 2% or 25,000, whichever is less, is penalty for releasing the goods, releasing the detained goods. Next, where an owner of goods does not come forward, sir, how it will happen? No one comes to release this goods. Somebody comes and auction proper officer, the auction process is there, proper officer will proceed for that. But still, for releasing such goods on 50% of tax and penalty, and 5% or 25,000, whichever is less, for exempted goods. Third option is also there. If you want to release your goods, the detained goods, then third option is there. Upon furnishing a security equivalent to amount payable, security of bond, government bank guarantee. But mind well, it never happens. The proper officer pressurize you. If you pay the tax, pay the equal amount of penalty, then and then your goods will be released. So many of times, me, myself, my seniors, my colleagues have also tried to convince the officer for furnishing this security, but the officer is not satisfied with this condition. So release of goods can only be done practically by paying 100% of tax and penalty amount. So releasing the goods. Now another section 130 comes. 129 is only inspection, detention in case of goods in transit. 130 is the provision for confiscation of goods. So confiscation goods or conveyances and levy of penalty covered by section 130, and detention of goods is covered by 129. 130 attracts if you are contravening any provisions of law, any provisions. 129 only not having particular documents while goods in transit, but in 130 any contravention of provisions law, proper officer may intercept with authorization of proper authorization of commissioner, intercept the vehicle, and your goods are liable for confiscation. One word is detention, one word is confiscation. Detention is temporary, confiscation is somehow permanent till your case case is judged. Next, penalty equals to value of goods. In section 130, penalty is equal to value of goods. In 129, it was 100% of tax and tax and equal amount of penalty. But if you are liable to, or if you are contravening any provisions of law and your goods are confiscated, then penalty, you have to pay penalty up to value of goods. In detention, no title is transferred, but in case of confiscation, title vests to the government. Confiscation ho gaya, the title of goods lies with the government. So it is little bit technical, but while practically dealing in this e-way or this interception and detention situations, you have to have this knowledge of 129 and 130. The officer is going for 129, then it is okay, we are contravening 129. But if officer insists for 130, but which is penalty up to value of goods, then under what provisions or what contraventions I have made, why you are charging this section 130 to me? So 129 and 130. Another section of penalty 126 is a severe section. No office under this act shall impose any penalty for minor breaches. નાનકડી ભૂલ રહી જાય of tax regulations or procedural requirement, in particular any omission or mistake in documentation which is easily rectifiable. Address માં કઈક ભૂલ છે, પિન કોડ ખોટો છે, નાની નાની ભૂલ, નામમાં મિસમેચ છે, etc., something like that, made without fraudulent intent or gross negligence. It is not a gross negligence, it is not fraudulent intention. Then for the purpose of this section, a breach shall be considered a minor breach if amount of tax involved is less than 5,000 rupees. If amount of tax involved is less than 5,000 rupees, then 126 will attract. An omission or mistake in documentation shall be considered to be easily rectifiable if the same is an error apparent on the face of record. If it is error which is apparent or which is a silly error, silly mistake, which is not to be not affect the tax amount or any revenue of the government, then 126 section is savior. But still, you have to convince the proper officer that it is the mistake which can be covered under section 126. So it is a minor breach, it is not intentional, it is not gross negligence, it is genuine mistake. Then you can proceed for some savior under section 126. I will discuss all those provisions, 129, 130, 126 for penalties. But આપણો ટ્રક પકડાય ત્યારે એ લોકો કરે શું? What will they do? આપણ કેમ ખબર પડે આપણ શું આવે? મતલબ if they are standing on a highway, holding some floodlights, flood LED lights, looking into the face of the drivers, all those picture is clear. But what about the documents? What will the officer will provide to the person in charge of the vehicle, to the owner of the goods? Circular 4115/2018 issued by the government. It is master circular for procedural aspect of e-way bill in case of transit or interception or detention or confiscation of goods. So it is very important to know. The proper officer first of all will hand over GST MOV 01, the statement of owner, driver, person in charge of goods and conveyance. They will take a statement. ભાઈ તું કોણ છો, ક્યાંથી આવસ, કોના ગુડ્સ છે, બિલ છે, નથી, etc. If you are carrying the invoice, if you are not carrying the invoice, from where are you coming, who is your transporter, etc. Next is GST MOV 02. After taking the statement of the person in charge or a driver, order for physical verification, inspection of conveyance of goods and documents. Without order of physical verification, the officer or the person authorized cannot verify the goods or cannot embark to the conveyance for verification of goods. Next, MOV 03. Order of extension of time for inspection beyond 3 working days. If the officer takes more than 3 days, again MOV 03 is to be issued. So the time limit for verification will be, or physical verification will be 3 days without any extension. MOV 04. Now after verification, the officer will prepare a physical verification report. Physical verification report, certain goods are there, this kind of goods are there, quality of goods, the value of goods, etc. E-way bill issued, e-way bill generated, e-way bill not generated, e-way bill is accompanied, invoice is accompanied, delivery challan is there, etc. Now MOV 05, release order. If the proper officer is satisfied, everything is there, then he will pass a release order. But if proper officer is not satisfied, e-way bill is not there, e-way bill is incomplete, part B is not filled, invoice is not there, then they will issue MOV 06. If the tax and penalty is to be paid, then simultaneously notice under section 129(3) that this much amount of tax and equivalent penalties to be paid. We have already discussed bond for provisional release is format is given at MOV 08. MOV 09, order of demand of tax and penalty. The final order, this much amount of tax, this much amount of penalty, you pay and take your goods. MOV 010, notice for confiscation of goods. We have already discussed, if you are section 130 is attracting, then MOV 010 will be issued. And 11, order of confiscation of goods and conveyance and demand of tax, fine and penalty. So in case of attraction of section 130, MOV 011 is issued. Mind well, my friends, many a times officers are not following these procedures or following in very inconsistent manner. Some of the forms are not issued, forms are issued, still proper authority is not there. So while facing these issues, first go through this memos. Practically, the officers are calling this memos. MOV is a memo. Go through the memos and then decide whether or give advice to your clients whether to pay the tax right now or to fight for the future time. So for releasing the goods, you have to pay tax and penalty and follow this procedure. So I think I have made clear little bit picture of generating e-way bill. And if e-way bill is generated, some interception is there, and how to deal with proper officers, really how to release our goods, or what penalties are to be charged, have all discussed in this manner. Now, your session is particularly dedicated to the practical issues. So I have covered some of the issues which I came to my mind and I came to my experience and practice. Let us discuss those issues now. Who and when will generate e-way bill? In some of cases, supplier and recipients. ગુજરાતીમાં રસા કસી થાય તારે e-way bill generate કરવાનું મારે થોડું કરવાનું હોય. So in those cases, who will generate e-way bill? My simple answer. Now don't read the lower part of or the bullet points right now. My simple answer is the person who is responsible for making movement is going to generate the e-way bill. Next, when to generate e-way bill? Before movement, obviously. We have already learned the law, but still there are inconsistencies, there are misconceptions. Day in, day out, supplier, recipient, consultants, all are getting together and solving those problems. Only supplier have to generate? Answer is no. Clearly no. Supplier, whomsoever is making movement of goods, have to generate e-way bill. Only in case of sale or all sales or returns, sale માં e-way bill generate કરવાનો, બીજા કામે જરૂર નથી. No, each and every movement of goods valuing more than 50,000, all those conditions are right. હવે તમને ખબર છે, you all know. So not only sales, not only supplies, each and every movement e-way bill is required. Only if is generated, e-way bill required. Invoice is generated, e-way bill is required. If invoice is generated but you are not liable for movement of goods, you are not required to generate e-way bill. If recipient comes to your factory with a truck, takes the goods on his own responsibility, then recipient will generate the e-way bill. There is no case supply is required to generate e-way bill. So if you have generated invoice more than 50,000, you have to generate e-way bill, irrespective, whatever it is. There is no provision like this. The person who is making movement of goods is required to generate e-way bill. As simple as that. if you are recipient, if you are supplier, we have already seen the table. Let me go back to that table. See, e-way bill portal itself provides generate new e-way bill for outward. See, for outward and for inward. So if the movement for me, for generation of e-way bill, the movement is outward, I have to follow this. The movement is inward, I have to follow this. There is nothing like sale, there is nothing like purchase, there is nothing like sale return, purchase return, etc. There is only thing is there movement, and the person who is liable for movement, or the person who is making the movement, is liable to generate the e-way bill. So coming back to my problem, yes, another ignorance. Ignoring goods moved on his own. I've already discussed. I'm shifting one of the machinery to my one place, one premise to my another premise. I'm taking some goods to my Rajkot go down at Ahmedabad. I have not sold such goods. Still, e-way bill is required because you are making the movement. Mind well, my friends, if you are making movements valuing more than 50,000, no exemptions attracted for 138.14, which I've already discussed, then you have to generate e-way bill, irrespective of the transactions. Next, DC, delivery challenge. Transfer is totally ignored. If you are transferring your goods with the backing of delivery challenge, own transfer for taking your goods to the exhibitions, fairs, job work transfers, or transferring for any other reasons, you are moving the goods on your own, then you have to generate delivery challenge. My dear friends, kindly refer rule 55. Very simple rule, but still it is having much influence in whole movement of goods and e-way bill transactions other than sale and purchase transactions. From place to place must be registered place. Big question. From place and to place. Say for example, myself registered at Rajkot, and I am purchasing certain goods from Ahmedabad and sending those goods directly to the Mumbai. Then whether I have to put my Rajkot address, answer is no. You have to put from where the movement starts. The movement started from Ahmedabad. Movement concludes at Mumbai. So nowhere provided the place of business must be your registered business. Nowhere provided the place of business where you are making transfer or from where you are making transfer. In both the cases, no registered place is required. You can purchase your goods from the supplier, directly from the supplier. You can make your movement on your own. The registered place will not be there, so you have to put the address of supplier, and then you have to put your address as recipient. In all those cases, but it is very simple, but still very huge non-compliance is there, and people are having huge doubts how to move the goods in those cases. Next one, services provider non-compliance. Service provider, for example, let us take a mandap keeper, sound system service provider, catering service provider, construction service provider. Mandap keeper, sound system, all those are having the machineries, the equipments, which are valuing more than 50,000 rupees. Okay, so in that case, if they are moving certain goods from one place to another place, they have to generate first delivery challenge as a document prescribed under section 31, and second, they have to generate e-way bill for the self purpose. It is same like you are taking your goods for exhibition or a trade fair. So as a mandap keeper, as a sound service provider or catering service provider or construction service provider, if you are moving your goods from one place to another place, you have to generate e-way bill. I have came across many cases where mandap keepers or catering service provider facing huge problems or huge tax liabilities happen because goods are costing more than 50,000 obviously, and you have to generate e-way bill while moving your goods one place to another place. Next, another myth or misconception: no e-way bill within 50 kilometers. Mind well, friend. Only exemption is available for filling the part B to the place of transporter for further transportation. E-way bill is not required within 50 kilometers. It is definitely a misconception. You have to generate e-way bill, you have to fill part A, but part B will be filled by the transporter when the actual transportation starts. So within 50 kilometers, you are permitted without part B to the place of transportation for further transport. Second, which I have already discussed in my earlier part, 20 kilometers for weighbridge. If you have to have if you want to have a weighbridge, then up to 20 kilometers with the support of delivery challan, you can move your vehicle or conveyance and you can get back to your premises and then move forward then after generating e-way bill. In all other cases, e-way bill is definitely required. Only exemption is allowed. Mind well, e-way bill kyare generate nahi karvanu. 50,000 or less amount, yes, not required. And second case, in case of Gujarat, intra-city movement, no, e-way bill is not required. In all other cases, e-way bill is required. Now, another issue. Multi-vehicle and multiple consignment in same vehicle. Two different cases, but I'm discussing in one slide. One is multi-vehicle. One consignment and multiple vehicles. I am having one consignment. I have to send, say for example, I have to send some certain goods to the Mundra port, and particular the invoice generation. Invoice is single invoice, so consignment is one. Then e-way bill. One e-way bill is required to be generated. Yes, e-way bill is generated. But I have more than one containers. I have 10 containers where all the whole consignment is adjusted. So for 10 containers, what I have to do is, first I have to generate an e-way bill. Second, I have to convert that e-way bill into multi-vehicle. So I have converted my original e-way bill into multi-vehicle e-way bill. Then generate delivery challan for each of the vehicles, each of the containers. That is 10 delivery challans are to be made. Next, after generating delivery challans, certified copy of invoices to be there with the delivery challan. It is to be accompanied with delivery challan, and generate e-way bill according to the delivery challan. And original is to be kept with the first or the last consignment, whichever is feasible. So if multi-vehicle is there, generate e-way bill, convert particular e-way bill into a multi-vehicle e-way bill, put all the vehicle numbers into the multi-vehicle e-way bill, then issue delivery challan, which is accompanied by original invoice, and kept with all the containers, all the vehicles during the movement or during transit till particular assignment reached to the decided place, in our case Mundra. So clear, in multiple vehicle, generate e-way bill, convert into multi-vehicle. But in case of multiple consignment in a single vehicle, so another facility is available. Transporter can generate consolidated e-way bill if there is multiple consignment in a single vehicle. So transporter will generate a consolidated e-way bill. Another important thing, goods stored in godown of transporter. Whether that can be happen? Yes, that is day in day out process that goods directly move to the godown of the transporter. But mind well, friends, as per circular 61, e-way bill is required during such holding. E-way bill is to be accompanied because those goods are in transit goods. So in that case, the goods are supported or backed with the e-way bill, even if those goods are not in movement. Those goods are in transit. Those goods are not in movement. Still, e-way bill is required because the goods are not in possession of the owner of the goods. It is in the possession of transporter. So as per circular 61, in case of goods stored in godown of the transporter, e-way bill is required. But there is a savior. If you declare the place of transporter as additional place of business, then no e-way bill is required. If you declare in your amend your registration and declare that particular place as additional place, then you can store your goods in the godown of the transporter. Next, the validity of e-way bill. Another disputed matter. Validity is to be updated obviously by the transporter because we have handed over the goods to the transporter for transportation. And if the transporter is unable to reach on time, then validity is to be, the action is to be taken by the transporter. And transporter have to update part B, even in case of updation of part B, vehicle details, transporter is liable to do. It is not at all in control of the supplier. But in practical case, if validity is not extended or part B is not updated, in both the cases, if some breach is happened, vehicle is intercepted, vehicle is verified, documents are verified, officer is charging tax and equal amount of penalty to you, your supplier, not to the transporter. So in practical terms, select the transporter who is updated, who is making this type of updations very soon, very quickly, so you can avoid this type of problems while movement of goods. Next, at the time of inspection or detention, valuation cannot be challenged. Practically, we are facing many problems. While movement of goods, certain interception is there. Interception made by the officer, officer verified the documents, officer have verified goods, and they came to a conclusion that you have valued these goods 45,000, but we are valuing these goods at 1 lakh. Your valuation is wrong, so you are liable to penalty under section 129. The person intercepting the goods or detaining the goods cannot challenge the valuation. So you have to fight with department while interception, while detention of goods, or department, or they are commonly known as GST squad. No power under section 129 to challenge the valuation on the basis of e-way bill. Whatever value mentioned in e-way bill cannot be challenged by the department at any time during movement, in transit, interception, detention of goods. The value which is shown in invoice, shown in e-way bill, is to be accepted by the department while movement in movement of goods is there. So mind well, there are many misconceptions. The people are suffering from those misconceptions. Still, the law is there. You have to fight with department and you have to get into conclusion and minimize the penalty. Next, non-compliance of circular 41 at the time of detention of goods on the way or in transit. We have discussed MOV 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 11, which was a master circular for e-way bill, interception, detention, confiscation, etc. But still, I've discussed at that time also. I'm again discussing this. Still, there is huge non-compliance. How? What kind of non-compliance is there? One by one, we are taking the cases. All MOV forms duly complied means memos are generated properly, notices, orders which are required are to be passed properly. Second, opportunity of being heard is received. In many cases, proper officer passes an order, pay this penalty, pay this tax and equivalent penalty, and release your goods. No opportunity of being heard is given. So mind well, you have to fight for your right. So circular 41 provides, section provides that section 129 and 130 is also provides, 130 also provides for opportunity of being heard. Next, payment through DRC 07. Final order received and the proper officer insists to pay by form DRC 03. The form DRC 03 is is the form for payment, voluntarily payment. In case of interception of or detention of goods, we are not paying the tax, we are not paying the liability or penalty voluntarily. Department has intercepted and detained our goods, so they have to pass an order and we have to pay through DRC 03. Electronic liability register will reflect the amount to be paid, and we have to pay such amount by using our cash ledger. So mind well, people are the department people are saying pay by DRC 03, we are releasing your goods. In other sense, if we are paying voluntarily, then further right of appeal, further right of adjudication, we are losing all those rights, all the rights lost. But if we are paying as per procedure, order passed and then paid through DRC 07, which is demanded by the department, no voluntary payment involved, then we can fight further, we can file appeal also. Department many times insists to pay DRC 03. Kam patao, apne goods are detained, DRC 0, we have to either way pay the penalty, pay the tax amount, pay by DRC 03. No. Pay after liability generated in our electronic liability register and then pay by DRC 07 form, which is available to the GST common portal. Tax paid is to be deducted while paying monthly GST R3B. The practical problem. In the month of March, one of my consignment intercepted, detained, I have paid as a penalty under section 129 tax and equivalent penalty. Mind well, I have paid the tax and equivalent penalty for releasing the goods. So I have already paid my tax at the time of release of goods. I need not to pay the same amount of tax while in the month of March in the form GST R3B because I've already paid the tax. The reconciliation problem will be there, but still you need not to pay again because you have already paid the tax. So while you are paying the tax for the particular month in which goods are detained or intercepted, you have to deduct such amount from total tax liability of GSTR 3B. Jurisdiction or payment of tax of which state in case of detention of goods in outside state. This problem is faced by many of our seniors. Even yesterday's learned speaker, Shri Sharad Bhanada, has insisted me to take this problem in my presentation. So, jurisdiction, payment of tax, which state in case of detention of goods in outside state. कौन से state में pay करेंगे? In which state? If my goods are detained in the state of Karnataka, I am not registered in the state of Karnataka. So whether I have to pay IGST? Answer is no. There is no provision of IGST payment. Or to pay CGST, SGST of particular state. That particular officer of Karnataka will insist to pay tax in his state. But still, we are not registered in that state. We are registered in state of Gujarat. So I have to pay particular tax in my state, not in state of Karnataka. So it is practical difficulty, legal difficulty, that you can't pay IGST because IGST provisions are not there. 129 only prescribes CGST and SGST. So whether to pay CGST and SGST by getting temporary. Another thing I want to add here is, if you are not registered, unregistered, making movement of huge amount of goods, and somebody intercepts and detain your goods, the proper officer may issue a temporary ID to you for paying the tax and equivalent amount of penalty. The temporary GSTN will be there and you have to pay your tax to such temporary GSTN. But in my case, if my goods are intercepted outside the state, outside state officer is imposing penalty on me, whether this transaction is justifiable, if I have to pay CGST and SGST in outside state, I am registered in Gujarat. So it is a practical difficulty. Sooner or later, some legal reviews or some clarifications will be there on this. Another problem, where a conveyance carrying 25 consignments, I have taken this problem directly from the circular. It is a circular explanation or example given in circular, where a conveyance carrying 25 consignments is intercepted and the person in charge of such conveyance produces valid e-way bills and or other relevant documents in respect of 20 consignments. 25 consignments in a particular conveyance, single conveyance, and person in charge produces only 20 consignments for the 20 consignments, but it is unable to produce the same with respect to remaining 5 consignments. Detention on confiscation can be made only with respect to 5 consignments, not 25 as a whole. And the conveyance in respect of which the violence of act or the rules made hereunder has been established by the proper officer. So out of 25, I have not in possession, I am not in possession of the documents or e-way bill or invoices of 5 consignments. Only 5 consignments are liable to be detained or confiscated. No other consignments are to be liable. So friends, I have discussed almost all problems, practical problems which we are facing day in, day out. So if there are questions, queries, we can have some question answer session. If not, it is very delighted and thankful to Rajkot Branch of WICASA that I got an opportunity to share my views. So handing over to the team Vikasa, Rajkot.
Yes, sir. So now I would like to invite Jeet Kakkar, Vice Chairman of Rajkot Branch of WICASA, for presenting all doubts of the students.
Yes, thank you, Jainish. Sir, now I'll share the screen, and on the screen the doubts will be there. Just a second. Yes. Sir, this is the first question.
The 50,000 limit is for how much time period? Means 50,000 for 1 day period or 50,000 or 15 days. 50,000 is for a consignment. You go through the provision of provision rule 138 sub rule 1. Rupees 50,000 is a consignment value. So there is no time limit of 1 day, 15 days. Is practically it is not there. If you are moving some goods which are having value more than 50,000, you have to generate a e-way bill. Next question, please.
Just a second, sir. Yes. This is the next question, sir.
I have a doubt in case of there is 3 parties. One who is supplier, directly supplies goods on behalf of us to other customer. Then in this case, who will have to generate e-way bill? In e-way bill also, there is bill to ship to concept. Invoice generation section 31 also provides bill to ship to, and you can also generate e-way bill to ship to mode. So the particular tab is there, bill to this, ship to this. So you have to put the address of address ship to but to particular e-way bill generation. So it is the functionality is there. You can generate the e-way bill likewise. Next, please.
Yes, sir. This is the next question.
If the transporter himself by authority conferred to him by the supplier files part A and part B, then also the transporter will be required to file part B on his part separately. See, part B can be filed one time. Part B is not different for transporter and different for supplier. So if part B is updated by any person, part B, the compliance of part B will suffice. So no separate updation of part B is required. Next.
The next question, sir.
In case of GTAs who have cancelled registration, can fill part B. If not, then is any other provision. E-way bill portal is having functionality of registering transporters. The transport ID will be generated and they can move forward for updating part B. The the supplier who is generating e-way bill, who is generating or filling part A, have to fill transporter ID. And corresponding to particular transporter ID, transporter can log in on his own portal and then put the vehicle number in part B. So there is a provision, there is a functionality available at e-way bill portal. Next, please. Whether GTAs are required to register compulsory. GTAs are not required to register compulsory because GTA cover comes under reverse charge mechanism. So if you are not liable to collect the tax or your see, there is a difference. If you are liable to collect the tax, if you are liable to pay the tax. So in case of GTA is not liable to pay the tax. So specifically, it is not required to get themselves registered. What is the format of delivery challenge? Rule 55 CGST rules specifically provides all things to be included, to be not included in delivery chalan. Previously, delivery chalan was there, but in case in GST regime, delivery chalan is specific defined. You can go to Rule 55 CGST rules 2017. You will get the format of delivery chalan. Next, please. In case of buyer, purchase goods from supplier warehouse and take such goods with him without transporting it. In this case, e-way bill is required or not. In case of buyer, purchase goods from supplier warehouse and take such goods with him without transporting it. I think some part is missing in this question. Buyer purchases goods from the supplier, understood. Supplier warehouse and take such goods with him without transporting it. So goods are still lying in the warehouse of supplier.
Maybe sir, he meant that without handing it over to transportation company or something like that.
So two limbs are there. One I will explain first, which I understood. Purchase of goods from supplier warehouse and is not transporting the goods. So goods are still lying in the warehouse of the supplier. So in that case, no movement is there, nothing is required, no e-way bill required. Another thing which you suggested is if he is transporting certain such goods on his own, so movement is there. So the recipient or purchaser or buyer have to particular buyer has to issue or generate an e-way bill in that case. So movement is the key part of e-way bill. If movement is there, goods are moving from one place or another place, irrespectively who is making or who is responsible for moving the goods, e-way bill is required. If movement is there, e-way bill is there. Next, please. In case of export of goods are exported under bond or LUT without payment or tax, then in that case, e-way bill is compulsory. Definitely, movement is there, e-way bill is there. I have already discussed it in my slide. You can go through the slide. You have to put supplier as your GSTN and recipient will be URP, unregistered purchaser, and the address will be your port address where you are going to move the goods. So definitely invoice is required, tax invoice is required in case of export, and also e-way bill is required in case of export. Yes, answer is yes. Next, please. Information about e-way bill in online shopping and written by customers. So why no e-way bills are accounted? Information about e-way bill in online shopping and written by customers. So why no e-way bill are accounted? I'm not getting the questions. Particular this question.
Maybe sir, it is
I can
meant that
share my personal detail, contact details. You can email me. We can better discuss because I'm not getting the question, and after if I'm not getting the question properly, answer will not be the correct.
okay, sir. Sure.
Next, please. In case of exports, goods are nil rate. Then also e-way bill is required considering the value of goods about 50,000. Answer is yes. Because in my opinion, export is not nil rated, export is zero rated supply. So in every zero rated supply, nil rated supply is different from zero rated supply. So e-way bill is required. Next, please. For how much time the department authority will wait to conduct auction of goods in case of no release of goods? If no release of goods, the department it covers under section 130. I have not covered because it is not practically happen day in day out. The department has, I think, 15 days of time. So to reach to the buyer, and then they can proceed for the auction procedure, which differently provided in another rules. Next. In which situations the consignment is confiscated? Section, you can refer to section 30. There are many cases. Non-compliance means if you are making some fake billing, if you are doing, if you are not filed the even returns, you are not registered, you have cancelled registered erroneously. There are many cases which are provided in section 130. In those cases, goods are liable for confiscation. So kindly refer once section 130, you will get your answer definitely. Can you give an example of 129 and 130? Simple example, if I am not having an e-way bill or tax invoice, the officer intercepts the goods, detains the goods. If I want to release the goods, I have to pay tax and equivalent amount of penalty, and I can release the goods. This is the example of section 129. Section 130, I have made contravention of provision of law. Say, for example, I am making the movement of goods with fake invoice, with no invoice, with if I am trying to evade tax, I have multiple times done these kind of transactions, which are specifically provided in section 130. Then section 130 will attract confiscation of goods is there. Confiscation will be there, and if you want to release such confiscated goods, you have to pay a penalty amounting to value of goods, up to value of goods, and then you can release your confiscated goods. So section 129 and section 130. Next. In case of exempted goods, is generation of e-way bill is required if your goods falls under section notification 2 2017 central tax rate. In that notification, all the exempted goods, which means nil rated goods, are listed. Then e-way bill is not required. So you can refer to rule 138 sub rule 14. In that rule, it is prescribed if exempted goods, no e-way bill is required. Next, please. To whom all MOV forms are issued? It is to be issued first to the person in charge, because while interception or detention of goods, the person representing the supplier or the person responsible for movement will be person in charge. So all the documents, MOV, your intimation, your order, your verification, physical verification report, your notice, all those things are to be handed over to the person in charge of the conveyance or the vehicle, whatsoever your mode of transportation. Next, please. In case transporter forgot to fill details under part B and movement of goods is ended, then can we say the e-way bill is invalid? Yes, for the provision of law, e-way bill is invalid. You are saved. Mind well, you are saved because no one intercepted your vehicle and no one verified your documents. You are saved only for that reason, but your e-way bill is invalid. In eyes of law, your e-way bill is invalid. Another thing which I want to add here is, see, e-way bill is just a document for a movement. After movement is completed, e-way bill has no value. Still, e-way bill can be used as trail to the department for audit. It cannot be the evidence of movement. Now, after goods reach to the destination, after movement is completed, e-way bill has no value. Still, it has value for trailing such transactions, whether that particular movement happened or not happened. To prove whether the movement has happened, you have to show the e-way bill. So it is a trail after movement of goods. So if part B is not filled and movement is completed, you are saved. Still, e-way bill is invalid. Next. Next, please. Apart from goods, when machinery, fixed assets transported from one location to another, then what will be the treatment under e-way bill? Machinery, fixed assets, everything are simply known as goods in case of GST. GST law prescribes goods and capital goods. First, all things are goods. I am mentioning the definition of capital goods here. Capital goods means goods. Capital goods means goods which are capitalized in your books of accounts. So there is no difference between goods and capital goods in particularly case of e-way bill. So each and every goods, including fixed assets, machineries, etc., transferred from one location to another location, e-way bill is required. Next. Suppose in case inward e-way bill is issued and then there is some penalty arise on such, then who is responsible for paying such penalty? In case supplier is unregistered, penalty and any kind of liability is of the person making the movement. The person who is making the movement is liable to pay penalty, liable to whatever procedures are to be taken, actions are to be faced, is to be faced by the person who is responsible for movement of goods. In your case, the person responsible is your, I think, inward transaction is mentioned, yourself. Then you are liable for the penalty, the tax, whatever amount is to be paid. Next. If one machine is transferred in 2 or more parts, then how to make e-way bill? I've discussed in my presentation. I'm repeating again for better clarity. One machine transferred in cart, it is called knockdown condition. So semi knockdown condition, one part, second part, you have to generate 2 delivery challenge. For one part, one, another part, second delivery challenge. Or if you are selling the goods, then one invoice and one delivery challenge. So each delivery challenge or each invoice, you have to, for each delivery challenge and each invoice, you have to issue a fresh e-way bill, and then you can move the goods further. So your answer will be semi knockdown or knockdown. You can also use multi-vehicle in that case, in case of 2 or more parts. So multi-vehicle facility is also there. You can generate an e-way bill, then convert that e-way bill into multi-vehicle, backing with delivery challenge and invoice. Next.
So that was all. I guess all the queries are covered.
7:30.
Yes. So now I
Okay,
hand over
so-
to Jainesh. Please continue.
So now I request Chintan Dattani, Treasurer of Rajkot Branch of WICASA, to present vote of thanks.
Thank you, Jainis. Respected CA Darshan Mankad sir, Session Speaker, CA Bhaven Doshi sir, Chairman of Rajkot Branch of WICASA, all other branches chairmen, that is Bhavnagar, Bhuj and Gandhidham branch of the WICASA, all the WICASA team and attendees. I feel honored to have been given opportunity to propose a formal vote of thanks. I, on behalf of Rajkot Branch of WICASA, extend heartily vote of thanks to learned speaker CA Darshan Mankad sir for making us learn and understand one of the most important and sensitive topics to be dealt with under the GST, that is practical approach on e-way bill. Sir, you had explained each and every aspect in very lucid manner, especially features of the e-way bill systems. The way you had analyzed and deliberated the topic is exemplary. So my sincere thanks to you, sir, for accepting our invitation for this webinar and for giving your valuable time from your busy schedule. I would like to extend a special thanks to you, sir. As no program can become successful with a single person, so I extend my big thanks to our Vikasa team for their support. At last but not the least, I would like to heartily appreciate and recognize all the attendees for their active participation in this webinar. Thank you all for making this session interactive and successful with your contribution. Thank you. Over to you, Jainis.
Thank you, Chintan. So this was the second day of our 5 days GST knowledge series, and I hope you all enjoyed this session. So we aim to organize the best value events for the students of Rajkot branch, and your support is solicited in the form of your active participation. We shall now meet you all tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. That is third day of 5 days GST knowledge series on the topic Excel as analytical tool for various reconciliation of books with GST report by CM Maulik Bagdai sir. Please do provide feedback and suggestions to this session, which shall enable us to plan effectively for the upcoming events. So now with this, we shall end up this session. Stay home, stay safe.